friends, and welcome to today's video where we are doing our next history of. I know it's been a minute, but finally got a camera. If you're confused, go watch my Exodus video where I actually talk about how I got a camera. But I got a camera and we're going to take advantage of the fact that I no longer film on my phone to make a longer video, which is going to be my history of the boys. Basically, I picked the boys for one key reason. I have a very complicated relationship with the boys. I used to be like a die-hard fan, like die-hard fan. Like, think about the most die-hard fan you've ever been. That was me for the boys. And then my fave was Hwal, and Hwal left. And then I started not liking their music, and now I don't really stan them all that deeply, but I simultaneously still have so many feelings for all of them. I have a very complicated relationship, but get hyped because, first of all, it's going to be fun. All my videos are fun. My videos are great. We have to hype ourselves up sometimes. Anyway, it's going to be fun, and also I have special things planned. This is not going to be like my other history ofs in some ways. We're still going to talk about the history of the boys, but like we have other things planned. Get excited. I'm excited. Anyway, before we go any further, I have some things we need to get out of the way just before we get started. First of all, I must give credit where credit is due. This entire video, all my history ofs are inspired by Miss Smoky Glow and her evolution of playlist series, whatever you want to call it. I will have both her channel and the playlist of evolution of that she has done linked in the description, so you can check those out if you so choose. I would highly recommend them. They are fascinating. She basically takes like either a makeup brand or an influencer, goes through their history. I took that idea, I changed it to K-pop. It's fun. I like doing it, but I must give credit. So it is all her. Some other notes and disclaimers before we get started. Number one, I am not going to go through every single group or solo activity the boys have done. To be fair, they have a lot less solo activities than any other group I've done this for, so that part would have been easy. But I'm not going to go through them all. That's a waste of my time, that's a waste of your time, and I don't feel like dealing with it, setting it all up, so like, it's not going to happen. We are not doing every activity. We're doing the biggies and some other stuff that I just feel like mentioning. Disclaimer number two, on occasion I will be giving my opinion on some things. I want to make it clear that these are opinions and you can disagree with them, and I love that for you, I love that for me, I love that for us. Well, hello there. We've made it to my living room. I know. Can I just say, I'm so ready for this. So normally I know when I do the members, we like to just go in H order because we pretend to be unbiased. But I found this poster. Also, I have this wand that my neighbor gave me. Shout out to my neighbor who gave me this wand and a different wand that you will see later. But yeah, I have a wand. It's gonna be my little point. I'm so ready for this. You don't even know. I feel like I'm going to be Mike's Mike, and it's just going to be the time of my life. All right, cool. We're getting started. We're gonna go like this, kind of like right to left. So, and then we're gonna like swoop down and go across. I hope that made sense. I hope you're ready. Anyway, let's get started. Right there. That bitch. That's Hwal. Hwal is conveniently going to be first because he's our one and only former member of the boys. He left in October of 2019, and it is because he had endless issues with his ankle. And I swear to God, I should not have taken this. I already feel like I have too much power. I swear to God, I called this though. Like, for the record, that was my favorite boy. That's my best boy right there. But it doesn't matter because I just vividly remember telling my friend right before, like right when he went on hiatus, because he went on a hiatus right before he left, and I remember telling her, I was like, he's gonna leave, like he's not coming back. He had ankle issues forever, and then like 2 weeks later they announced he was gone, and I was a prophet. Anyway, Hwal, aka Ho Hyunjun, was born on March 9th, 2000 in Busan, although he did live in the Philippines for a couple of years before moving back to Korea. Prior to debuting, he would do some dancing competitions. He actually won prizes in his dancing competitions, and we're very proud of him for that in this house, at least. And he would appear in the music video for Melody Days Color. Then, after debuting in The Boys, he would be the group's lead dancer, lead rapper, and sub-vocal, although obviously he would be those things until he left. Now, I will not be getting into his post-leaving of The Boys things here in this video, just because we're going to keep it focused on The Boys, but I will say this. First of all, he has some solo songs you can listen to if you want, but that's not the important part. The important part is he's in a boy love drama with Vic's member Hyuk, which makes me lose my mind every time I think about it. Okay, wait, I'm filming this like later into the filming thing, and I took a shower in between because it's really hot, and I swear my hair is not cooperating. None of that is relevant. Back to Hwal. Some Hwal fun facts. His representative color was black. His English name is Leo. He is a horseback riding boy. And he was in charge of fashion in the group, which you deserve because he was always serving and slaying his looks. Moving on, because I'm depressed. That was loud. Oh my god, I'm so sorry to my neighbors. That's Sangyeon, and I'm sorry I just slapped you with this wand. I'm getting used to the wand. Anyway, that was Sangyeon, who I just hit with this wand. He was born on November 14th, 1996 in Seoul, making him the only 96 liner in The Boys. Sang is the sort of dad of the group, which fits very well because along with being their main vocal, he is also the leader. Sang would be in the music video for Melody Day's You Seem Busy, and would actually be in A. Lee's music video for If You alongside IOI's and Nayeon, so that is actually a very cool fun fact that I don't see people talk about really ever. So like, fun fact, he was in that music video. He would also very briefly appear in the 2014 Kara project, but no one knew who the hell this man was, so no one really cared. Some fun facts about Sangyeon. His designated color is red, his English name is Tobiah, which for some reason I'm obsessed with, and he likes to snowboard. Next member. I was gentle this time. That's Shui Chani, aka Mr. New. Don't ever get used to me calling him New. I don't think you're ever gonna hear it again. He is Chani to me, and only Chani. Anyway, Chani was born on April 26th, 1998, which means I actually learned this. This is new tea, like fresh tea. He has the exact same birthday as one of my ex-boyfriends, like same day, same year. I didn't know that before I made this video, and I wish I didn't know that because that actually makes me very upset. So that has ruined my life. I'm so upset that I know that lore. It's truly tragic. Anyway, that aside, he's the other main vocal of The Boys, if you were wondering. Johnny actually has very little like pre-debut content. Like the only real piece of lore is that he actually worked a bunch of different odd jobs, including at a restaurant, which will be relevant later, so just keep in mind that Chani has worked at a restaurant. Some Chani fun facts. His designated color is transparent. I don't know what that means either. I don't know how your designated color can be transparent. Does that just mean he's invisible? I don't know. I don't know how it works. Don't ask me. Anyway, other fun facts. He likes math. I'm an accounting major. We stand the math lovers in this house. And on top of that, he was the first member to have a tattoo. He's had a cross on his pinky since pre-debut era, so like long time has had it. Also, he hates tomatoes. I too hate tomatoes, that's why it's getting mentioned. I only will accept tomatoes if it is in ketchup or Bloody Mary form, otherwise they are the scourge from hell and they need to not be near me. Next member. Hyunjae. Fun fact, Hyunjae's real name is Lee Jae-hyun. I constantly forget it, so that's your fun fact about him. There are more, don't you worry. Like, that's not his only fun fact, but his birth name is actually Lee Jae-hyun. I exclusively call him Hyunjae. Either way, Hyunjae was born on September 13th, 1997, and is the group's lead vocal, lead dancer, and visual. Hyunjae would actually appear before debuting in both of the Melody Day music videos we have discussed, the one for You Seem Busy and the one for Color, so we love that for him. Some little fun facts about Hyunjae. His representative color is silver, which kind of a mood. Also, he hates bugs, which same fun fact about me. When I was in college my freshman year, my roommate and I, we had this like big floor meeting and the RAs were there and they were like, oh, like they were literally telling this to the girls, I swear to God, but they were telling the girls like, oh, figure out which one of you is gonna kill the bugs. And I turned to my roommate and I tell him, Cheeto, you're killing all the bugs in this room. Like, don't even bring a bug near me. I'll lose my mind. So, like, same. We hate bugs. Hyunjae also has the cutest fun fact I've ever heard, which is that he did well in a kindergarten speech contest. Just, like, envision baby Hyunjae in a speech contest with, like, a little ribbon and being all proud of himself. That's what I envision. I'm envisioning it right now. And it's very, very cute, so we fully support it. Next. In the hat. That is Jacob. Jacob Bae, aka Bae Jun-young. He was born on May 30th, 1997 in Toronto, Canada, meaning he speaks fluent English. Jacob is the group's unofficial mom and also lead vocal, and he hosted Simply K-Pop with Kevin for around 3.5 to 4 years. Jacob has like zero pre-debut lore whatsoever, so we're actually gonna jump ahead to his fun facts. His representative color is yellow. He is part of the duo Canada Bros with Kevin. It's not an official duo, but it is to me at the very least. And his favorite Disney movie is Mulan, and we respect taste. Next, I'm blocking the members. I need you to focus on me for a minute. Are you ready for the most important piece of information you're gonna get in this entire video? Jacob is a Sam Kim fan. Here's why that's relevant. In pre-debut era, right? The Boys have a little pre-debut variety show thing called Flower Snack. They run a restaurant. It's not important. We'll talk about it later. It will be important, but like we'll talk about it later. My point is, Sam Kim comes to the restaurant, right? Sam Kim, Jacob, dynamic. They literally have a date. It's so cute. It's giving first date. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It's them on a first date while Eric is just bopping around them, being a full-fledged demon and exposing Jacob in every way. It is literally the funniest it's just, look it up. You'll literally be laughing your ass off. I was, at the very least. We're back because I forgot to mention the very important piece of information that Sam Kim does not understand geography. He asks Jacob where Jacob is from. Jacob says Toronto. Sam Kim responds, oh, that's like a few hours outside of Seattle, right? No, he's thinking of Vancouver. Sam Kim doesn't know geography. I find that very entertaining. Last thing about Sam Kim, I promise, and then we'll move on. Jacob and Kevin also literally are sitting at the table serenading him with Ed Sheeran. I swear to God, just, you need to watch this content. Leave this video, it's fine. You can come back later if you want to. Just go watch Jacob and Sam Kim. It is the peak of content. Speaking of Kevin, that's Kevin. Kevin was born in Korea on February 23rd, 1998, before moving to Vancouver when he was around 4 years old. He would live there for a while. He actually got into college out there and then moved back to Korea to go on K-pop star. Okay. Kevin is, according to like the majority of the profiles I've seen, officially speaking, the lead vocalist of the boys. But I have seen discourse on Twitter, and like 3 of the other profiles I checked said that he was a main vocal. I'm pretty sure he's a lead vocal, but if he is a main vocal, I apologize. We're gonna assume he's a lead vocal and operate under that assumption, but I might be wrong. Some pre-debut lore. Back when he was in Canada, he would have a YouTube channel. He has since tried his very best to scrub it from the internet. Go find his Uptown Funk cover though. I swear to God, you will be laughing for an hour and a half straight. At the very least, I was, and I was having a time of my life watching it. He also, as previously mentioned, appeared on K-pop Star 6. However, he deeply flopped. Like, he is not even on the Wikipedia page levels of flopped. According to Wikipedia, he was not on that show at all. But he was actually there. It is actually why he moved back to Korea. But he flopped, so, like, who cares? However, he did get to release an OST after that and then would go on to join the boys, so, like, I guess it worked out for him. Some Kevin fun facts. His representative color is gold. He hates spiders. If you didn't know this about me, I have, in my 20s, asked my mother to kill a spider for me. So, like, we understand. He also went to college for around a week before dropping out, which, if that's not a mood, I truly don't know what is. On top of that, Kevin loves drawing, and he actually designed the boys' logo, which I find very cute. Kevin also has 5 tattoos. We're not going to get into them because I don't care, but we are going to get into one of them, which is he has a tattoo. I think it's on his arm. I don't remember, but it's on his side, I think. I don't know. I should have written it down. It doesn't matter. He has a tattoo, and it's Mickey Mouse, right? And underneath it, and it's all watery, but underneath it, it has a Hebrew word, which is why it's relevant, because I am Jewish and I can speak basic Hebrew, and I have a friend who lives in Israel who helped me like understand, but whatever. Underneath the tattoo, right, it has the word temimut, which means naivety, and here's why I'm telling you this. Because I was on Twitter, right, and I was trying to find like a solid image of this tattoo, and I saw people on Twitter. I saw 2 statements on Twitter that made me laugh. First of all, I saw someone saying that the Hebrew word under it is mouse. It is not mouse. My favorite one, however, was someone saying that the Hebrew word under it was Disney. Sweetie, Disney's a name. Disney in Hebrew is actually just Disney. I don't know if you knew that, but like, yeah. Anyway, that's why I'm sharing it. If you were wondering what the Hebrew underneath his tattoo says, it means naivety. Anyway, jumping down to the man I've been blocking this entire time. That's Changmin, aka Q. He's my bestie's fave, so bestie, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I've been in front of your giraffe this entire time, but like, I needed to stand somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, Changmin would be born, I shouldn't block him like during his section at least. Changmin was born on November 5th, 1998, and is the group's main dancer and sub-vocal. Changmin is another member without any real pre-debut lore, so we're actually just gonna jump ahead to his fun facts. His representative color is white. He has a poodle, which we love to see because same. He has a very long neck, which is why I called him a giraffe, and he is a horror gremlin. I will not be elaborating on that statement. Kim Young-hoon, that man right there. He was born on August 8th, 1997 in Seoul. He is the group's official visual, along with being a vocalist, and was the first member to make their acting debut. He debuted in a drama back in 2020. Younghoon has appeared in multiple music videos before debuting. He would be in Melody Day's Color music video, John Park's Do Not Disturb music video, and probably most notably, I would say, he is the bitch in IOI's What a Man music video, like the mean one, the man, yeah, that's him. He's the one who shows us all that men are terrible and men suck. He was also a model before he debuted and would take part in Seoul Fashion Week back in 2017. Some Younghoon fun facts. His representative color is sky blue, which is also his favorite color. He has a poodle, which again, same. He hates bugs, which again, same. And, best piece of information of all time. This man's English name, are we ready? Is Jelly. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but like if I knew him in reality and he went by Jelly, I would have bullied the ever-living everything out of this man. Like, I'm so sorry, but like, jelly. Next member, that's Juyeon. Juyeon is born on January 15th, 1998, meaning we are almost birthday buddies, but he can still be a Capricorn bestie. So like, we love that for him. He is also the group's visual and main dancer and sub-vocal. In terms of his pre-debut lore, Juyeon would appear in the music video for You Seem Busy by Melody Day. Yes, many of the boys members were in different Melody Day music videos. If it took you this long to pick up on that, pay better attention. Anyway, he was in that music video and he modeled alongside Younghoon in Seoul Fashion Week back in 2017. On to the Juyeon fun facts. His official color is blue, however, his favorite color is light green, which I love to see. I actually really like green, so like, I support that. So, other fun facts. He is a massive TVXQ fan. He actually cried when he met TVXQ, you know? And he was a president of some committee when he was in like elementary school, which I am mentioning because I find it very, very adorable. Also, one of his profiles said that he was a nature lover. However, I read that as natural lover, and I was very confused for about 30 seconds before I reread it. And I just wanted to share that because I thought it was funny. Anyway, next up, that's Hakmyeon. Hakmyeon was born on March 9th, 1999 in Jeju and is the group's lead dancer and sub-vocal. Hakmyeon has, I would argue, the most well-known piece of pre-debut lore, except maybe Younghoon, but like, no, I take it back, not Younghoon. Hakmyeon definitely has the most well-known thing, which is obviously that he was on the second season of Produce 101, the one that went on to form 101, the like really, really big one that everyone was losing their minds over. That season, he was there. He made it to the finale before he lost. He would also appear in a Melody Day music video, but like, half the members have been in a Melody Day music video, but he was the only one to get to go on Produce 101. Some fun facts about Hakmyeon. His representative color is orange. He hates snakes, which is a deep mood, but he also hates mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is actually just an incorrect opinion. Mint chocolate chip is the best ice cream ever, so he loses a bit of rights for that. I hate to say it. Also, his Christian name is Simon. That's my name. I should be a member of the boys. I'm just saying, we're basically the same person. Y'all, my feet are killing me. I don't know how YouTubers do this while they make really long videos where they're standing, because I've been standing for 20 minutes. My feet want to die. Anyway, that one. That's Sonu. He's making the weird kissy face, like that man. That's him. I noticed it like 3 takes ago, and now I can't unsee it, so you're stuck noticing it too. Anyway, Sonu was born on April 12th, 2000, and is the group's main rapper, lead dancer, and sub-vocal. As far as pre-debut lore, Sonu actually also has a very unique piece of lore, which is that he would be on Mnet's High School Rapper back in 2017. He flopped. He like deeply, deeply flopped. But I did go back and watch his rap, and it was pretty good, so I will give him that. Anyway, fun fact time. Sonu's official color is purple. He's scared of dogs, which is going to come up later, so keep that in mind. And he loves the rain. I too love the rain, so he's getting rights for it. Also, this is more of a story time, less of a fun fact, but the boys were somewhere doing something. I don't know what it was, because I could find zero evidence that this happened, but I swear on my life that it did. Either way, Sonu mentioned something about how he's the only rapper in the boys. Whoever he was with, maybe it was another member, maybe it was like an interview in the interviewer, whoever it was, they were like, bruh, other members have rapped before in songs, like, you're not the only rapper. And Sonu responded, and I quote, "They try." I could find zero evidence that this happened. I swear on my life it was a thing. Last but not least, we did it. That's Eric. Eric, aka Son Young-jae, is the youngest member of the boys and was born on December 22nd, 2000, making him another Capricorn bestie, and Eric understands the Capricorn bestie life. Eric has a Capricorn, like the zodiac symbol, tattooed on his ankle. He understands the vision. Anyway, Eric was born in Seoul. However, he would move to LA when he was a little kid, meaning that he speaks fluent English. He is also the group's lead dancer, lead rapper, sub-vocal, and maknae. That man is busy. Eric, prior to debuting, surprise, surprise, he was in a Melody Day music video. He was in the music video for Color along with like every other member of this group. Fun fact time. Eric's official color is pink. He, as a child, won 4th place in a Rubik's Cube competition, which is very cute. We love little kid content, as long as I don't have to deal with the children. And apparently his official stage name was supposed to be Neon. I cannot in words express how grateful I am that it was not, because dear lord, that is a terrible stage name. Eric also has like by far the most tattoos. He has, at least of the ones we know of. So like, I made a list that I'm gonna read to you right now, okay, ready? He has the word left on his right foot, right on his left foot. He has a tattoo on the back of each arm. He has City of Angels on his back, and he has a paper boat on his arm. Can I just say, for the record, all of this talk of tattoos, I really want to go get my tattoo. Like, I know what I want. I've just been too scared to get it. I really want to go get it. We did it. We made it through the members. I'm proud of us all. Anyway, we've reached their pre-debut content. I know, we're not even at debut era yet. I'm not going to talk about the members' pre-debut content because that has already been discussed. So instead, we're going to talk about their pre-debut show, Miss Flower Snack. So, the boys would basically have their pre-debut show, Flower Snack. It ran from August through October of 2017. And as their show went, they would basically run a restaurant. That's what they did in the show. It also, as previously mentioned, has the iconic moments of Jacob and Sam Kim. These moments will never be outlived. Other stuff happens in the show, I know, but like, it doesn't even remotely compare, so is it really worth mentioning? I don't think so. Moving on, Flower Snack Shop would end on October 11th, and that same day, the boys released their masterpiece of a pre-debut single, I'm Your Boy. Now, this song, it's very soft, it's very cute, it's very much a fan song, and I may or may not have rewatched the music video when I was writing these notes, and hypothetically speaking, I might have cried a little bit, like just a little bit. It's very wholesome, and I had feelings. The song's also very good, if you were wondering. Like, if you haven't heard it, I would absolutely recommend it. Our final pre-debut content, at least the final one that I will be discussing, is that at the end of October, the boys would have a little fan meet moment. They would meet 1,000 fans, and I'm going to take this moment to point out something that's very interesting to me, which is just that during this era, pretty much everyone was a Hackneon stan, because we all only knew the boys from Hackneon. Like, I'm not saying it in a bad way. He was by far the most well-known. I just think it's really interesting since I wouldn't even put him in like the top 3 to 5 most popular members now, and it's just so fascinating because I was going back through like all these old videos, and it's just so weird to see that like everyone was a Hackneon stan, and now it's so I don't know, it's just interesting to me. I'm weird like that. Guys, we did it. We made it to debut era. We're 2,800 words into these notes, and we're finally at debut era. We did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. Also, yes, I'm bringing back my little side piece of whatever it is, like other photograph thing. I did it for Astro and no one else, and I realized that I liked doing it for Astro, so we're doing it for the boys. So like, get ready. I don't have all their albums, but I do have a photograph for every single comeback, including the Japanese albums. Anyway, the boys would officially debut on December 6th, 2017 with their mini album, The First, and its title track, Boy. Now, we're gonna start by talking about the song today, and this song is nothing short of pop perfection. I love this song with all my heart and soul. It is my second favorite The Boyz title. It is truly one of the best debut songs I've ever heard in my life. I'm not underselling it when I say that. It is truly one of the best things ever. I love it so much. Their debut would do relatively well. The song didn't chart, but that's not surprising. The album, on the other hand, would go on to peak at number 3 on the charts and sell just about 50,000 copies in its first month. That number to me is wild to think about when you think about how many albums the boys sell right now, but like at the time, that was very good. The boys would do nothing like super special that's worth mentioning for the rest of 2017. It was mostly just debut promotions nonstop and standard year-end stuff. So with that, I guess it is retrospective time. Well, hello there. Welcome to the retrospective corner. I decided I wanted to mix it up a little bit for retrospectives, so this is going to be the retrospective corner. I know the walls are kind of nothingness right now. Maybe one day I will put something on there if we keep doing these. I don't know yet. It doesn't matter. Anyway, retrospective corner. If you are new to these history of videos, I like to end every year with a nice little retrospective. We just talk about, we wrap up the year. That's basically how it works. We wrap up the year. It's very fun, at least for me. So yeah, the 2017 one's gonna be quick though. They didn't do much in 2017, obviously, but like, it's the tradition, so we're getting started. Now, 2017 is, you know, a pretty important year for the history of the boys since it's when they debuted, and we can already see that they have a pretty solid fan base debut era. Now, obviously, nowadays, we have our Ives and our New Jeans and the Thems, where, like, they will debut with a hit song and sell hundreds of thousands of albums and literally be one of the top girl groups from the minute they debut. That's not how most groups work. The boys very much not like that. They did not debut with a massive hit, but they did do relatively well. I know I said this already, but like, they were from a not super big company. They were the first boy group of that company. It was just, for what they were doing a good job of it. The only other real thing that I want to mention for 2017 is something that I already talked about, but I'm bringing it back up, which is that during 2017 specifically, pretty much everyone who was stan was a Hackneon stan. Like, we all came because we knew Hacking from Produce 101 and wanted to see more of him. Whilst I'm sure that there were other reasons that people got into the boys, like I have a friend who stands every single boy group. Like without fail, they will at least get into every single group. So like there were those girlies, but most of us were Hacking on stands, and that's fine. There was nothing wrong with that. He was by far the most well-known during this era. I just really think that it's interesting to point that out here because as we go along with the progression of the boys, we see that very much shift, and I find that fascinating. None of you can see it, I know, because I'm gonna cut it out, but I just choked for like 2 minutes on one. For the record, this is Dr. Pepper. I'm not actually drinking coffee because it's too fucking hot. But I just choked on Dr. Pepper. God is trying to kill me. God is worried of my prophetic powers. I swear to God. Anyway, back to the boys because no one actually cares about me. In January, they would release the first arc, let's say, of their latest show, Come On the Boys. This is the fairy arc, as I have dubbed her. It had 4 episodes. They're all about 20 to 30 minutes long. If you want to watch them, it's actually pretty easy to knock out in one sitting, especially because I watch things on 1.5 speed. So I literally had this done, like, while I was working. But anyway, it's cute, it's wholesome, it's standard at the same time, like, it's nothing super special, and we're just gonna keep going. Then, in February, the boys would release their next reality show. This one is entitled The 100 and aired through VLive with 24 episodes. It ran until March 15th. The new episodes would come out more or less every day, like, not quite every day, but almost every, you know what I mean, you get it, like, almost every day. Anyway, while The 100 was airing, Sangha would actually go on the show We Are the One. And this show, it was like a cooking variety show. It literally lasted a month and then got canceled. Like, there was very little there, but I did try and watch the Sangha clips for it. And I saw a man slicing up a snake, and it traumatized me. So that was fun. Moving on from my trauma, after finishing the 100, the boys would actually host an online concert before it was cool. They were visionaries. But anyway, they did an online concert. I'm not giving you the entire set list. I will, however, tell you that they did a cover of Steal My Girl, and it's very cute and it's very wholesome, and I really like it, and I still watch it to this day. Literally a week later, the boys would actually return with their second mini album. Now, I have a question for you all. This is not in my notes, but I noticed this as I was getting the album out. What do you think this album is called? Just looking at the album cover, what do you think this album is called? Would you think it's called The Start? Because it's called The Start, but it only says Giddy Up on the album cover. This is a stupid complaint, I know, but I noticed this, and it's been bothering me since I noticed it, like an hour ago. Why does it not say The Start anywhere on the album? It drives me a little bit nuts, and it has no right to. Anyway, The Start, their second mini album, would come out on April 3rd with the title track, Giddy Up. Also, before we continue, acknowledge Shani's on a horse. He's on a horse. They're all on a horse in the photo shoot for this. It's really funny to look at. And there's more photos from this one, actually. But that's not important. The album, as I said, came out on April 3rd. However, Hua would not be here. He was already on hiatus and would be for the next 3 months. Anyway, starting with the song this time because I want to. Giddy Up sort of built off Boy in a lot of ways for the way it sounds. Like, they do have a very similar vibe to them. I just think Giddy Up has a bit more banger pop elements involved with it, which, like, I love to see. I actually do really like this song too. Their old types are so good. Anyway, we're not there yet. But my point is, the song's really good. Banger pop to the finest degree. We love to see it. The album would do more or less just as well as their debut album had done. It did peak a little bit higher. It peaked at number 2 instead of number 3. But it did, while it sold better, like, it was slightly better. It was nothing super drastic, is my point. Also, as part of Giddy Up promotions, they would release the next little arc of their Come On the Boys show thing. This little moment had exactly 1 real episode and then 3 little quickie moments, so, like, it is technically a thing. Just a quick little mention before we keep going that while Giddy Up promotions were wrapping up, Kevin and Jacob would start hosting Simply K-Pop, and they would do this for years. Like, they stopped hosting it earlier this year, and they started in 2018. They literally hosted it forever. That is my point. The next couple of months didn't really have anything super duper exciting going on, so we're actually gonna jump ahead to summer of 2018 when things started to happen again. First, on July 12th, the boys would release their first digital single. The song was called Keeper and was produced by Block B member Park Kyung before he got canceled for being a little bitch. And it also marked the end of Hwall's hiatus, and Hwall stands everywhere celebrated because we truly did not know how bad it was about to get. That very same day, the boys would kick off their next arc from Come On the Boys. This time it was a camping arc, and it actually had 8 episodes, so there was like substantive content to watch. Plus, if you were wondering, has Eric always truly been a menace to society? The answer is yes. Go to episode 5. You'll understand. You won't even need to watch more than the first 10 seconds. Like, the answer to that question is a very strong yes. Then, in August, we have what is just objectively and factually the best era of The Boys ever. Like, full stop, period, point blank. It is the best we've ever gotten because this is puppy era. Basically, The Boys were part of this show, and as part of the show, they adopted 2 puppies. And it is literally the greatest piece of media regarding The Boys that I've seen in my entire life. So, I rewatched the whole thing. It's really short. You can actually, you have to kind of hunt for it a little bit, but like, it's not difficult to find, and it's quick, and it's cute, and there's puppies, so we're gonna go over the highlights, because I rewatched all of them. Oh my god, wait, I forgot. I filmed all of this and then forgot. Acknowledge this dog. It usually sits on my desk, but there's a story behind it. You ready for the story? My mom got me this dog right before I left for college, I think, and she did this with a few things. She said, this is the closest you're ever gonna get to me getting a dog. My dog, Teddy, is currently vibing very happily, so in your face, Mom, I guess? I don't know, but anyway, we're redoing this because I want the dog here. Anyway, time for the highlights. Highlight number 1, there are puppies. I don't think I need to elaborate on that one. Highlight number 2. If you recall, Sanu is scared of dogs. These dogs weigh like 10 pounds. He spends like half the first episode when they're there cowering in the corner. I should not think it's so funny, but it truly had me laughing my ass off because like, I have a small dog, right? There are people I know who don't like dogs, and they'll just be like, oh, okay, it's a small dog, like, just pick him up and like hand him to someone. No. Sonu's like fully in the corner, and it's so funny to me. He gets better by the end of the show, don't you worry. Like, literally the next little episode thing, he's carrying one of them, he's fine, but it's just very funny to me. Highlight number 3. There is a moment where they play I'm Your Boy in the background while showing clips of the puppies playing, and it literally warmed every piece of my heart, and I suddenly regained the will to live. It was truly one of the most wholesome things I've ever seen in my entire life. Highlight number 4. This is the last one, I promise, and then we're gonna get back to the important stuff, but they dressed up the dogs. If you did not know this about me, doggy fashion shows, when done, like, not, when you're not mean to the dog, but like doggy fashion shows, like the Jenna Marbles Halloween doggy fashion shows, literally my favorite form of content in the entire world, so this is the obvious highlight. Anyway, we're done with the highlights, we're gonna get back to the important stuff, but like, please go, you don't understand how true peak content this era was. Next, just a little quickie thing. They would actually win 2 Rookie Awards during the summer award seasons also, so we love to see that as well. Closing out the summer, the boys would actually release their first single album. I know, this album is called The Sphere, it's right here. Also, look at Eric, I really liked his red hair, that's why he gets to be here for this. But either way, this is The Sphere. We love to see it. It's their first single album. It will come out on September 5th, and it would include The Keeper along with its new title track right here. Also, for what it's worth, this is the era the poster was from, if you were wondering. If that was important to you, I just wanted to share it. If it wasn't important to you, I'm sorry I wasted your time. The song, though, right here, she is a bright, summery pop, and I love it. I am biased, though, given the fact that I wrote these notes during a heat wave, and I'm filming during a heat wave. Like, I'm literally channeling my Wicked Witch of the West right now. You can call me Alphabet. I'm melting into this chair. This is a rant, I know. I'm not gonna get too into it, but, like, I don't do heat. I don't do heat. I hate the heat, and I'm literally dying. Speaking of death, the album kind of flopped just a little bit. It is their lowest peaking album to date. It peaked at number 4, but like, it is their lowest peaking album to date, and it also is their lowest selling album. It only sold about 70,000 copies in total, which in comparison to their last 2 albums, which both sold 80 and 90 respectively, is not ideal. Moving on though, the boys would very, very swiftly return. Like, less than 3 months later, they were back with their 3rd mini album. Like, end of November, they're back again. Anyway, this album is called The Only, and contains what is, in my opinion, easily their best title track, the queen of the legend herself, Miss No Air. This song is a masterpiece, plain and simple. It is also probably their most successful comeback to date, like up until this point. So none of their songs charted, obviously, but I am going to use music video views. I hate using music video views as a metric, but like, we kind of have to. We don't have anything else. So, using that, their most viewed music video up until this point would have probably been Giddy Up. It currently is their most viewed video that is older than this one. It has 18 million views. The music video for No Air has more than 30 million. So, like, that is a very large leap that we are fully in support of. Also, I know we have fall here. I can't tell. I literally cannot tell if it's super blurry. So like, I really hope it's not. If it is, I'm so sorry. Anyway, this is fall. He looks really cute. But that is irrelevant because Chiny during this era, for what it's worth, yes, Chiny is getting a special mention. Chiny during this era, literally no one has ever looked that good in their entire life, I swear to God. Anyway, the album actually also did quite well. It would very swiftly pick back up the trend, I guess, of them breaking their previous sales record with each comeback. This would be their first album also to break 100,000 copies sold, so hooray for that. And it peaked at number 3 on the charts. Also, a brief fun fact about me for a minute. None of you would know this other than like 3 of you who are subscribed to my channel, I really think. But I actually had a different YouTube channel when this album came out. Back when I was in college, I had a YouTube channel, and while that channel itself was a mess and we don't claim anything that was done on there, I did do an album review for this album. It did happen, and I wanted to share that. Don't try and find it because you literally won't. It had like 20 subscribers by the time I deleted everything. I did delete everything, but yeah, that's the spoiler. I deleted everything when I got a job. But yeah, don't try and find it, you won't. But I just wanted to share that fun fact because it was giving me war flashbacks when I was writing these notes. I don't have a ton to really mention beyond that for 2018. There are 2 more things of note though. Thing number 1, the boys would win the Best New Male Artist at the 2018 year-end Melon Music Awards, so we love that. Thing number 2, Sion would be the first member to go on King of the Masked Singer. He flopped. I think that's just fun to mention. Anyway, the rest of 2018 was very much classic year-end stuff. Alright, we're back. 2018, pretty busy year if I do say so myself. In their first full year of promotions, the boys would go on to release 2 minis, a single album, a digital single, multiple reality shows. On top of that, Kevin and Jacob start hosting Simply K-pop. Like, the boys were busy and booked, but it was also paying off. They're very clearly building a very solid fan base over the course of this year. Each album, for the most part, is doing better than the last had done. They're growing their popularity. It's very fun to see. Like, for a frame of reference, The Only was the 39th highest selling album of 2018. Very impressive, very impressive. Number 40 was The Story of Light Up 1 by Shiny, aka the highest selling Shiny album of 2018. So like, the boys were already very much establishing themselves, outselling groups that were established. Like, the boys were thriving. That is my point. Well, hello there. We've made it to the bookshelf this time. I've decided we're gonna have an intermission. For the record, before I continue, once again, must give credit where credit is due. Quentin Reviews. I decided to be a lunatic, and like 2 weeks ago, while I was taking these notes, rewatched his entire Victorious miniseries. Mini is used loosely because that bitch is 13 hours long, and interspersed throughout our intermissions. For the record though, like, I know it's daunting, highly would recommend it. And then he just posted his Sam and Cat video. I'm a prophet. I feel like that's going to be the running theme of this entire channel. I am a prophet. Anyway, my point is, we're having an intermission because I've decided that I want to do some more fun things in this video. And what we're going to do, here's what's going to happen. We're going to rank every single The Boyz SoundCloud song with the exception of Jacob's SoundCloud album, which, by the way, I did not know existed. So, like, that's a separate issue. Either way, we're going to rank all their songs going from worst to best, obviously. But it's going to be fun, so get ready. Cool. So, at the bottom, aka number 13, we have Sion's I Want to Go Back. This is very much an annoying pop song, and Sonu's rap is mid at best. However, I do want to give it extra credit because it does something that I want all big groups to start doing. It gives me weird, interesting combos. Like, this has Maknae line in the song, and I love that as a theory because interesting combos just always intrigue me, and I want more groups to do it. Next, number 12, Kevin's Rubber Boots. Listen, hear me out. I get the vision of what he was going for. Like, I understand what he was trying to do, but the song was not giving. The only part of the song that I actually really liked was the pre-chorus. The rest of the song truly was just kind of there. But, fun fact, I had the lyrics up while I was listening to this, because that's what I always do, and I misread dildo out of drip, drop, plip, plop. So that was an interesting moment. Anyway, number 11, Sonu's Cream. Listen, I really like this background music. Like, hands down, one of the best background musics of any of these songs. But his rapping just wasn't really giving. However, hear me out. I had a vision when I was listening to this song. BAP, right? Back in 2014, this exact song, as a duet between Junhong and Jonghyuk, I feel like we were robbed as a society. This song did not exist back in 2014, and yet I feel like this duet needed to happen. Moving on, at number 10, we have Eric's On My Way. Now, I'm not saying these lyrics are bad, but I am gonna say someone should have proofread them before they let him sing them and post them on the internet. I'm just gonna leave it at that. As for the song itself, it wasn't offensive, but that was kind of it. But I was really feeling the ending, so it does get some extra credit for that. Number 9, Jacob's Always You. This song is by far the weakest of the Jacob SoundCloud releases, if you ask me. But, like, it's just a love song. Like, it's a boring love song. And love songs are boring if I don't feel anything listening to them. And I felt nothing listening to this. So, yeah, not ideal. Next, number 8, Chinese 0329 from 24. We're assuming I pronounced that right, and we're just gonna keep moving. But anyway, this song, listen, like, hear me out. Is giving a Disney princess in a modern Disney movie in her chill power ballad moment. That's the vibes I was getting from this song. And while I did really like the background music, I thought it was stunning, the song itself is kind of just a song. Like, it's just a ballad, and there are ballads that I like a lot more than this one, and I will definitely be listening to all of those before we would ever listen to this. I'm not gonna, like, beat around the bush. Like, I just probably would never listen to this again. Into the actually, like, good songs. Like, these are the songs that I would say are, like, good and I would actively listen to again. Number 7, Sunwoo's Photosynthesis. First of all, fun fact. This was produced by Kia from OneWe, and I'm giving him full credit for me liking the song as much as I did, because I was really feeling this song. Sunwoo's rapping, for the most part, it was pretty good. Some of it was bad, but, like, most of it was good, so I'll take what I can get from him. My one request, I asked for one little thing. Why couldn't you have gotten a member of the boys to sing the chorus? I ask for so little. I just want interesting combinations of members when you have more than 10. Like, I really feel like that's not too much to ask, and yet I never get it other than, like, with 17 and maybe some other groups, and it just drives me nuts every time, and we need to move on because I'm ranting. Number 6, Eric Somewhere. I actually really like this song. I like when Eric does more chill style raps. I think it really suits him as a rapper. My one thing, dear God in heaven, someone needs to proofread this boy's work. Like, please. I'm not, like, give it to Kevin or Jacob if it's in English, have them proofread it, have them look it over and tell him, no bestie, this doesn't make sense, because the lyrics in this song definitely needed a second draft. Guys, we made it to the top 5, and at number 5 we have Kevin 604. Now, I'm not saying Kevin was high off his ass when he recorded this intro, because I don't know this man, I was not there, and he always kind of gives some stoner vibes, so, like, there is that. But I will say, I have had a friend express very similar sentiments to me at one time whilst they were quite high, so I can't help but give it a little bit of side-eye for that. Anyway, though, that aside, the song was actually really good. I really was into it. It took me a little bit too long than I would care to admit to realize he was singing about Vancouver when he said Van City. And I would like us as a society to end the narrative that all it does in the Pacific Northwest is rain. Like, I live in Seattle. Like, I'm literally filming in Seattle right now. It is bright and sunny as I film this. We just had a heat wave. I'm tired of this narrative. I'm tired of every time I meet someone and they ask where I'm from and I say Seattle, their immediate response, without fail, 9 times out of 10 will be, oh, is it true it rains all the time there? I'm tired of it. We need to end this narrative. Anyway, at number 4, we have Sangyeon's Day Off. This song, very chill, very much a fan, very much here for it, and the rap in the second verse, frankly a moment. And then on top of all of that, the first lines in this song are I don't want to go to work, and if that's not a fat mood, I don't know what is. Next, number 3, Jacob's I Belong. Am I allowed to say we love depression? Because, yeah. Anyway, this song, I was feeling things. I was feeling all the things. I was on the verge of tears for most of it, and in the ending, tears were shed. I will leave it at that. But, like, this song, it's very good for the right mood. I was not expecting my depression arc for this song, so, like, I was not ready for it, but the next time I'm in my, like, deep melancholy moments, this song will be played. Moving on, number 2, we have more Jacob, this time with Comfortable. This song, the deepest mood in the entire world. This song was me every single weekend when it's like 4 p.m. on a Sunday and I realized I've been up for 6 hours and have only done moving from the bed to the couch and my entire blanket has been swallowed up by the couch and I haven't gotten up in forever. But like, I know that was oddly specific, but I also know that you will understand what I mean when I say that. Like, this song, it's a mood. It's a fat mood. It's a deep mood, and I loved it so much. I know it's the polar opposite of his last song, but like, we gotta choose bop over depression, okay? We can't let the depression win. We have to choose the bop. Quick little honorable mention before we actually get to the number one song, and that is Younghoon's Yellow Dream. So, story time. I went on Genius.com. Genius.com told me that Younghoon from The Boyz had released a song called Yellow Dream. So I, obviously, because I'm making this section, I look it up, right? And I go and I listen to it, and it's great. Like, this is actually a great song. Like, hands down, 10 out of 10 would have been number one on the ranking. But I'm also 98% sure that it's not actually him, right? So I send it off to a friend, and I'm like, bestie, thoughts? Do we think it's him? And my bestie's like, no, 0% chance, definitely not him. So, in conclusion, we're assuming the song isn't him, but this song is also a masterpiece, so it's getting an honorable mention because it might be him. Also, it's a great song, and it should have been number one if it was him. Anyway, back to the actual ranking. At number one, we have Sunwoo's Berry. Sunwoo popped off a little bit too much in this song. Like, I was not ready for this song, because this song is really good. Like, first of all, I loved the chorus. The verses are also great, and his voice is really nice. I was not expecting Sunwoo to sound that nice. He should sing more. Why is he only rapping? Like, I get why he's only rapping, but like, his voice was really nice here, so like, I want more of it. Anyway, that was fun. Back to the video now. I hope you liked this intermission. Alright, now to actually talk about 2019. So the Boyz would start the year by announcing their first ever fan con entitled The Castle, and it would take place on January 26th and on the 27th in Seoul. If you don't know what a fan con is, I will very briefly define it for you. It's a mix of a fan meet and a concert. It's just, I went to one for Astro. It is exactly what you'd think it is. It's basically a concert where they do fan meet things and perform some songs. Following The Castle, the Boyz would actually go on a bit of a hiatus, which, good, they were probably tired. Like, they weren't fully on hiatus, obviously, but they were more or less AWOL for the next couple of months, which, frankly, they deserve. Then, in April, the Boyz would officially return with their second single album, Bloom Bloom. This is Bloom Bloom. She is signed. I felt the need to share that. I don't know why I always feel the need to like stress. I'm very proud of myself for having a signed copy of The Boyz, just because as someone who's not as much of a fan nowadays as I used to be, I feel like I need to prove my credentials sometimes. So like, if you were doubting me, I literally dropped the money on a signed The Boyz album. It's obviously not signed by all of them. It's not big enough. At least their albums weren't big enough at this time. But like, yeah, it's signed. I love that for me. I don't know why I got so defensive. Anyway, this was easily their biggest comeback to date. Like, by far, by a mile and a half. First of all, let's start with the song. The song got them their first ever music show win. They would win on the show on May 7th, and if you want wholesome content, find the clip of them winning. Yes, they will be crying, but it's still very pure, and I swear to God, this is why Hwa got kicked out of the group. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think it was this exact video. Watch it and you'll know what I mean. The album would also do very well. It would peak at number 2 on the charts, become their highest selling album to date with over 130,000 copies sold, which, please keep in mind, they debuted like a year and a half ago. This is not like today where like groups will debut and sell hundreds of thousands of albums. Back in 2019, while that was kind of happening, like, it was far less common for a relatively newer group to sell albums like this, and I always feel like I need to clarify that because we live in a different age now, but like, just all you need to know, this album sold very, very well for a group of their age. So following Bloom Bloom promotions, the Boyz would actually go on tour with their first official tour. It is just the expansion, let's say, of The Castle, but they expanded it to a little Asian tour moment. They would visit 6 cities in June and then end in Manila on June 30th. Unlike in 2018, the Boyz would actually have a pretty chill summer in 2019. They didn't really do much until August, when they would release their 4th mini album, Dreamlike, and its title track, DDD. This title track is low-key a forgotten piece of media for me. Like, not actually, I do still think about her. It's one of my favorite of the Boyz title tracks, but I also very rarely listen to her, and that seems to go for a lot of people. Again, I hate using YouTube views as a metric, but it's all I really have during this era, so let's use that. The music video for this song has around 14 million views. Please keep in mind, No Air has 30, so like, the drop, it does have more than Bloom Bloom, I will give it that, but like, the drop was very sudden, and I remember on Twitter people were not talking about this song as much as they did Bloom Bloom, so like, just all around, it does not seem to do, it didn't do as well, that's my point. The album also failed to do as well as Bloom Bloom had done. Bloom Bloom, I will remind you, sold 130,000 copies. Dreamlike sold around 112 or so in total. So like, again, it's a drop, but it's a less significant drop than the music video views. I'll put it that way. This would also be the final album to include Hwal. He, however, was not part of promotions. He was back on hiatus, and we're just gonna keep going because I'm sad. Speaking of me being sad, on October 23rd, Cracker Entertainment, the Boyz' company, would officially announce that Hwal had left the group. They would go on to continue as 11 members from this point forward. Well, again, like, he's obviously been doing things. He hasn't just sat in a corner for the rest of his life, but I'm not really going to talk about his solo promotions because this is the Boyz. He's no longer in the Boyz, but, like, Hwal was gone, and I was sad. Moving on November 6th, the Boyz would make their official Japanese debut with the mini album Tattoo. I do not own a copy of Tattoo. I don't have any Japanese albums other than one Astro Japanese album that I have. So instead you get this full group image from the Sphere era. Anyway, this album would end up peaking at number 2 on the Japanese charts, very impressive, and would sell around 20,000 copies. I will also just point out, because I just think it's really weird, their Japanese debut album, right, Tattoo, and its title track, Tattoo. Tattoo, the song, does not contain a word of Japanese. It's in Korean. And the album Tattoo is around half in Korean, and I'm literally pointing this out just because, like, I don't know why. Keep this in mind, it comes up, but, like, I don't know why their Japanese debut album isn't in Japanese. Like, I can see them, maybe if it was, like, they put the Korean old titles or something, but, like, you literally put a Korean title on your Japanese. I don't know. It's an odd choice. I'm just gonna put it that way. Just a quick little mention, actually, that also in November, Younghoon would go on hiatus. I'm bringing this up entirely because he injured himself walking up the stairs. And I'm bringing this up because I remember when this happened, my friend sent me a tweet about it and said something along the lines of, this is something you would do, needing, like, surgery because you walked up the stairs. He's fine now. I should specify that. He's okay now, but I just think she sent me the tweet and was like, this is something you would do. And I was like, you're not wrong. Anyway, that's my story. Younghoon's fine. I feel like I should not have just glossed over the fact he needed surgery. He's fine now. Closing out the year, we've reached December. The Boyz would release a special digital single in honor of their anniversary. This song, it's called White. It's a very cute fan song. It's very wholesome, but people don't really think about her that often, myself included. Probably because she had 0 promotions. It's never been on an album. It's literally just the digital single. But it's a really cute song, and I listened to her for this, and it made me happy. So, like, I would recommend her. Our final piece of lore, let's say, for 2019 is that in December, the Boyz would kick off a European tour. It was very quick. They would visit 4 cities, wrapping up in Amsterdam on December 20th. We're back in the corner. Hi. 2019, let's discuss really quick. I actually don't have a ton to say because I really think of 2019 as the final year of status quo more than anything else. Like, if you think about it this way, in 2018 and 2019, they were basically releasing very similar sounding songs, not in a bad way. I like their music during this era, but, like, the songs sounded very similar. They were still seeing this normal rate of growth. They hadn't, like, exploded into popularity yet. It was a steady growth. There wasn't really a ton of shifts happening during this era. It was very much status quo, and that's really the only way I can put it. And with that, we shall now enter the hellish decade that is the 2020s. Hi, it's a new day. I took a break because I'd been filming, like, all day and then editing a bit and then more filming. I was tired is my point. So it's a new day and I got a new shirt and there's a new mug that you're gonna see soon. Anyway, the Boyz would start off 2020 by announcing the release of their first full album, Reveal. This is Reveal. I fucking love this album. I think the red color, one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. Like, for this album, it has a case technically, but I hate putting the case on it because, like, look at this. Look at this. It's like, I love it. I love it so much. Anyway, Reveal and the title track of the same name would both come out on February 10th. Reveal, the song, was definitely their darkest song to date, at least in terms of titles, and I would say it was probably their sexiest. We're going to talk about this shift more later, so just keep this fact in mind. Keep in mind that it was a lot darker and a lot sexier. Meanwhile, Reveal, the album, would actually go on to top the charts in Korea, giving the Boyz their first ever #1 album, and becoming the group's highest selling album with over 150,000 copies sold. Also, to promote the album, the boys would announce their first ever solo concert. Not sure how they went on tour and did other things, but whatever. It was a solo concert, their first ever solo concert, which was scheduled to take place on March 14th and 15th. These concerts, for obvious reasons, did not ever actually happen, but people were like really, really hyped when they got announced. Also, just a quick little mention that around this time, Juyeon would start hosting the show. He would do this for around a year, but I'll let you know when he stops. Anyway, instead of hosting their concert after reveal promotions, the boys would actually join Road to Kingdom, which was the sort of pre-show to Kingdom itself, which was the male version of Queendom. Why Kingdom had two shows, I don't know. I'm going to call it misogyny, but like I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is the boys went there with some other groups. The one thing of note that I'm going to say is of note is that the boys were, internationally at least, by far the most popular group to be on that show, which I want you to keep in mind for later because I have a conspiracy theory about it. Road to Kingdom would run from April through June, and the boys did exceptionally well on this show. Like, won nearly every single round, won the whole show, and earned a spot on Kingdom itself, which was the whole like premise of the show. So due to their appearance on Road to Kingdom, the boys would see a massive spike in popularity, and I mean like massive, massive. And to illustrate that massive spike, we are going to jump ahead to their next comeback. So following Road to Kingdom, the boys would announce and then release their fifth mini album Chase, along with its title track The Stealer on September 21st. Now, as part of my little illustration of their boost in popularity, we're going to look at some album sales, okay? Now, I want you to keep in mind that up until the release of Chase, the boys' highest selling album was 150,000 copies, okay? Chase sold 350,000 copies. That is more than double. That is a huge, huge leap in terms of sales. And it would also become the group's first album to get certified platinum in Korea. The Stealer as a song would also do extremely well. It would be their first song in over a year to get a music show win, going on to actually get 4 wins in total. And it would be their first song to top the Weekly Circle download chart. And it was their first song to enter the top 100 of the Weekly Circle digital chart, where it would end up peaking at number 46. Musically, The Stealer would very much be a continuation of the darker sound they'd started to do with the reveal, but it did bring in some elements that had been really popular with boy group music at that time, aka it was loud and it was shouty, and if you know anything about me, you'll know that I wasn't a fan. As part of promotions for Chase, the boys would actually host their first solo concert. This would be an online concert, obviously, taking place just before the release of Chase on September 19th, and it would mark their first solo concert since debut. It was very exciting. As stated, they were scheduled to host some solo concerts back in March. These, for obvious reasons, were postponed and then cancelled. Quick mention that also in September, Younghoon would become the first member of the boys to make their acting debut. He would have the lead role in the drama Love Revolution. I did not watch it, nor do I care to, so I don't have anything else to say about it. Jumping ahead to December, the boys would host another FanCon to celebrate their 3rd debut anniversary. This FanCon, which took place on December 5th, would be entitled the Film Festival, and like all other FanCons, was a mix of a fan meet and a concert. I don't know how they did it online, but I'm not going to question it. Then, just 2 days later, the boys would release a digital single also as part of their 3rd debut anniversary celebration, entitled Christmassy, which was a mix of like a Christmas song and then a bright pop song, and it's actually really good. Most people don't think about this song either because it again got no promotions, but it's very cute and I would really recommend it. Alright, that was all I had for 2020, so we came back to the corner once more. There were a few key shifts in 2020 that I actually want to talk about, and for once in one of these videos, I'm not actually going to talk about COVID, so like, hooray, question mark? This first change is the shift in popularity. The boys got way more popular in 2020. Like, they weren't not popular before, obviously, but 2020 is the year that they became, like, real popular. They went from having solid album sales to having great album sales, and went from not really charting at all, which for boy groups is fine, that's very normal for boy groups, but they went from that to charting, which is in and of itself a shift more than anything else. The other real key shift is the shift in their music. Prior to 2020, the boys had very much been bright, banger-ish pop sounds for their titles, but definitely bright. Like, that is the key factor more than anything else. The boys had bright titles. 2020, neither of their titles were like that. Both Reveal and The Chaser, they were not bright songs, and especially for The Chaser is 0% banger pop, which is tragic, but more importantly, it is the shift away from banger pop, which I'm personally not a big fan of, and we're going to get to that, because you need to understand my subjectiveness for the rest of this video to make sense. Cool? Cool. Hi, we moved. We're on the floor. I feel like I needed to get in touch with my roots a little bit, and if you don't know, back in the early days of my channel, I used to film on the floor of my mom's house. We don't live at my mom's house anymore. I have an apartment now, but I needed to get in touch with my roots. We're on the floor. That's the point. Anyway, we are here on my floor to have a little tangent moment to give some context, which I feel like you're going to need to understand where I'm coming from for the rest of the video, so here's how we're going to do this. Basically, I used to be the biggest The Boyz stan. Like, not actually, but like, I was down bad. Like, I had more albums for The Boyz than any other group. I could write you a manifesto about every single member of this group. I was literally ride or die for The Boyz. Then Hua left, and that was my first shift as like a stan, just because my fave was gone. But it was fine. We didn't really stop standing all that much. We just shifted to my number 2. Mr. Jacob Bay became my new fave of The Boyz. And it was fine, and we kept going, and life was good, and the music still slapped, and everything was great. But then the music stopped slapping. Like, Reveal wasn't that bad if you ask me, but that's the last title I can say that for, and for a while, they were just getting worse and worse. Again, for me, in my opinion, the way I enjoy music, I was really not here for the music either, and then Maverick came out, and that is, unironically, if you ask me, one of the worst songs of all time, like one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my entire life, and I couldn't get past it. And honestly, I've been thinking a lot about this for me personally, just while writing these notes. And I think what really did it for me, like what killed The Boyz as being like one of my top groups, was Road to Kingdom, ironically. Just because like I was sitting there watching them do good stages, don't get me wrong, but like there were groups doing better stages and The Boyz were still winning. And on the one hand, I was happy for them because I still liked them and I wanted them to do well. And I still like them and I still want them to do well. But like, it just felt like they were getting rewarded for doing the bare minimum because they were popular. And I couldn't support that. Like, if you've seen Two's Rising Sun stage, you will understand. If you haven't seen it, go watch that stage. Because, like, that should have won. Like, hands down, that stage should have won. And yet, The Boyz just kept winning. Like, other groups would basically just do better stages. And The Boyz would win. And at some point, I just got tired of it. In short, the Steeler is when you're gonna see me and my happiness start to drop, because like the Steelers, when it started to go downhill for me, I bought Thrill Ride just like out of the hope of it all, but then the song was bad and I was just like, no, we're done. The Boyz have lost their place in one of my top boy groups. They're a group that I either stan or used to stan, it depends on the day, honestly, but like they have lost it. So I feel like you need to understand that context before we keep going, and now that you have it, we may continue. Anyway, back to The Boyz. So they would actually have a very chill start to 2021, beyond the fact that Jiyeon stopped hosting the show in February and Hyunjae made his acting debut around that time. They didn't really do much until March, so we're just gonna skip ahead to that. So, on March 17th, The Boyz would release their first Japanese full album entitled Breaking Dawn, which would be their first Japanese release in over a year since Tattoo. Since I do not have anything from Breaking Dawn, you get this little thing of Kevin from Dream Lake. The album was led with a title track of the same name and continued the trend that The Boyz have been showing towards darker sounding titles, and also continued Tattoo's trend of being entirely in Korean. I don't know why their Japanese releases are in Korean, but whatever, I'm not in charge, it's none of my business. Either way, this album would end up peaking at number 4 on the charts in Japan, selling just about 20,000 copies in its first week, and again, just like Tattoo, it was like half in Korean, which I don't know why, but whatever, it's none of my business, we need to move on. So, after Breaking Dawn, The Boyz would go to Kingdom, which they'd earned their spot on from winning Road to Kingdom last year. Just like Road to Kingdom, it would run from April through June, and The Boyz would actually not win this time. They lost to Stray Kids, but either way, they were still there, and it was still fun to see. However, The Boyz did manage to outperform everyone else on Kingdom in one very key area: charting. So as part of the Kingdom finale, every one of the groups released a special song, which is very normal. They did it for Queendom, they did it for Road to Kingdom, it's pretty standard. The Boyz released Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come was by far the highest charting song of all of the ones that were released. It would go on to be the only one to break into the top 100 on the Circle digital charts, giving the boys their first top 40 hit, where it peaked at number 37, and would give them another number one song on the download component of the Circle charts. In short, the boys may have technically lost Kingdom, but they also won Kingdom, because on top of being what seemed like the most digitally successful of the groups, they also got another massive influx of fans. Also, we've reached conspiracy theory time. You remember how I told you to remember that the boys were the most popular group internationally on Road to Kingdom? This is why. It's conspiracy theory time. My conspiracy theory. Queendom, Road to Kingdom, Kingdom. All rigged. All totally rigged. If you look at it, if you look at the winning groups, all of them were definitely, like, hands down the most popular internationally. Queendom had Mamamoo winning. Mamamoo was more popular than anyone else there. Road to Kingdom had the boys winning. The boys were more popular than anyone else there. Kingdom had Stray Kids winning. Stray Kids internationally more popular than anyone else there. My point is, we know Mnet will rig their shows. They've done it before. We know it's a thing. They did it again. That's my theorem. Anyway, while Kingdom was airing, we have the previously mentioned lore that I actually missed, which is that Jacob would release a SoundCloud album entitled Kindle on May 30th. I will take partial responsibility for missing this lore. However, I follow many Jacob accounts on Twitter, so I'm giving them each some percentage of the blame. The boys would actually have a pretty relaxing few months following the end of Kingdom. The only thing they really did that was of note is release a Universe single on July 11th. If you were wondering, yes, the song is still dark, and it's a bit too loud, for me at the very least. However, this run of dark titles would actually take a brief pause when the boys would go on to release their 6th mini-album, Thrill-ing, and its title track, Thrill, right on August 9th. Now, for the record, this is Juyeon from, Giddy Up era. I got this thing of Juyeon, right? The only issue is it's very reflective. My camera didn't like it, so I got a different picture of Juyeon to show you because I felt like Juyeon deserved to at least get some representation here, and I also came prepared. I knew it would be all messed up. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you in case you were wondering why he's on a horse. This is Giddy Up era. I did have a picture of him, and I wanted him to be present at least once. Starting with the song, Thrill Ride would be a lot brighter than their last few releases just because it was a summer song. Most groups don't really do darker sounds in summer. Summer's bright, and this song was bright. But it wasn't bright in the way their old titles were bright. I feel like it could have been theoretically if it had different background music. But alas, she did not, and I was not a fan of her. Society, however, seemed to tell me that I was wrong, because Thrill Ride would do quite well. First of all, it would give the group their next number one song on the Circle download chart, and their new highest charting song on the Circle digital charts, where it would peak just outside the top 10 at number 11, and would become the group's most awarded song on music shows, getting them an additional 5 music show wins. Also, while I don't usually like to put too much emphasis on music video views because I hate it as a metric in every way, I will just say this is their most viewed music video as of me writing this. It has just under 40 million views. It has 39.7 off the top of my head. I don't know. I didn't write down the specific number, but it's 39 point something. The album Thrilling would also do extremely well. It would give the group their second number one album and sell just about 600,000 copies by the end of the year, making it the group's first album to get a double platinum certification and becoming their highest selling release by a very wide margin. The next thing isn't super relevant, but I do want to mention it anyway, which is just that Cracker Entertainment would end up merging with Play M Entertainment. Both were owned by Lowen Entertainment, so they were just like, we're not having 2 subsidiaries anymore, you're going to be one, and they are now known as IST Entertainment. This has changed basically nothing for the boys, but I did want to mention it just in case it does one day become relevant in their story. So yeah, they were no longer under Cracker, now they're under IST. That is all. Moving on, the boys would then go on to have their first reality show in years, like their first since being 11 members. And this show, I could not find it. I actually could not find it. I went to watch it because I didn't watch it when it came out, but I went to watch it, could not find it with English subs. So I found it with Indonesian subs instead. I barely speak English, no clue what was being said. I was able to figure out, like, from context about a third of what was happening. Like, I watched all of Produce 101 Season 2 without subs, so, like, I'm not new to this struggle, but, like, I cannot actually tell you what was being said. But from what I could tell, it seemed like a very standard reality show. Like, again, they all really blur together for me. You need to have something very unique that makes you stand apart these days. This show was not that. Also, fun fact, whilst I was hunting for the English subs of this show, I found a video that said it was this, right? So I started watching it, and I'm making dinner at the same time, so I'm, like, half paying attention, half, like, glancing over. I look over at one point, And I'm like, that's fully while standing here. This is not the right show. And yeah, it was not the right show. I got played by YouTube. Anyway, like I said, I watched the first episode. Key takeaways, it's your standard reality show. If you can find it with English subs, I love that for you. Enjoy it. Or if you just don't, like if you speak other languages, then I also love that for you, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't find it. But also, we need to take away the hairstylist's hair dye because 3 of them had really unnatural hair colors in this show, and only 1 of them looked good, and I need the hairstylist to get it together and stop making my men look ugly. Rambling about hair aside, while their reality show was airing, the boys would release their 3rd single album, Maverick, with a title track of the same name, and that would come out on March 1st. As stated earlier, I did not buy anything after Thrill Ride, so instead you get this picture of Jacob from the Steeler era. Now, as I previously mentioned, this song is the worst song by the boys, in my opinion, at the very least. I think it's a combination of a few factors. It was a return towards a darker sound, and the very key factor, the one that killed it, was the fact that it very much was a sound that is popular with boy groups, which is shouting. And that is kind of a deal breaker for me. But once more, society told me I was wrong because this song did well. It would get the boys their first ever top 10 hit on the Circle Digital charts. I almost said gone. It's the Circle charts now. But on the Circle Digital charts, it would peak at number 6 and would get the group their 4th #1 song on the Circle download charts and would get them an additional 5 music show wins, including their first ever win on Inkigayo. The album also did phenomenally well. It would peak at number 1, unsurprisingly, and sell 640,000 copies by the end of the year. Now, officially speaking, it has technically not surpassed Thrill Ride in terms of total sales. Thrill Ride has literally less than 1,000 more, though. So I would believe you if you told me that this album has actually surpassed it since then, and it just doesn't get reflected in the actual numbers. Like, I would fully believe you, but from an official point of view, this is technically not their highest selling album to date. Closing out the year, the boys would host another fan con for their anniversary, this time called the B-Zone and running on December 4th and 5th. Keep the name B-Zone in mind, also it is relevant for later. The boys would also maintain their tradition of releasing a special digital single for their anniversary, with Candles coming out in honor of their 4th anniversary. This song, very soft, very chill, very much a fan. It actually doesn't have a music video though, fun fact, but I would really recommend it if you're into the more chill sounds from the boys. Retrospective time, because the only thing they did for the rest of the year was like standard year-end promotions, and I never talk about those because I don't really care about those. 2021 was in large part just a continuation of 2020, only on a much larger scale. They had gotten a massive influx of fans in 2020, and in 2021 they got way more, entirely because of their appearances on Road to Kingdom and Kingdom respectively, but either way, the massive influx of fans was very noticeable, and I shall put it to you this way, right? At the start of 2021, the boys had sold, in total, like throughout all their releases, everything they'd released up until that point in Korea had sold about 1.2 million albums, okay? Very impressive, like a very respectable number, very good. In 2021 alone, they sold 1.2 million albums. They released 2 things, each one sold 600,000 copies. They more than doubled their total albums sold this year, okay? Like, that alone should tell you how much of an influx of fans really came from Kingdom. They also saw a massive increase in their digital success as well. They still didn't chart for very long, but like, again, boy groups don't chart really well digitally, so like that's not surprising. But they very quickly got their first top 40 hit on the charts, their first top 20 hit, their first top 10 hit, like rapid succession. They were very quickly accumulating successful digital releases, which is also very good. Musically, they did slightly stray away from the darker tone that they had been building up back in 2020, but they also very quickly went back to it, so their musical sound didn't really shift. The only thing I can say is that their songs got worse in 2021. If you ask me, in my opinion, they at least got worse. And like, whilst not ideal, their songs were doing well, so I can't really complain all that much. But beyond that, the boys were basically thriving, continuing to thrive in 2021. They were doing extremely well. They were very successful all year long, and I, for one, am proud of them. So, with all that said, let us enter the current year. We've made it almost to the present of 2022. Now, the boys actually didn't do very much for the beginning of the year once again, so we're going to have some lightning round. Get ready for me to be really speedy. 3 really quick things. Thing number 1, Kevin and Jacob would stop hosting Simply K-Pop in January. Thing number 2, Eric would go on hiatus in March. As of me writing this and filming this, he has not returned. And thing number 3, Hackman would act in some horror thing that a bunch of idols were in back in April. I did not watch it. I can't tell you what it was about. Great, with all that out of the way, let us jump ahead to May. So, on May 27th, the boys would release their second Japanese mini album entitled She's the Boss with a title track of the same name. This album would be their first to be entirely in Japanese, meaning that the She's the Boss, the song, was their first single to be entirely in Japanese, which is kind of sad when you consider that this is their third Japanese album. Anyway, She's the Boss, the album, would peak at number 3 on the Japanese chart, selling 35,000 copies in its first week and becoming their highest selling Japanese album to date. Quite literally, immediately following their Japanese comeback, the boys would actually embark on their first world tour entitled B-Zone, yes, like the fan con, and it would start in LA on May 29th. However, it would actually get cut short because someone got COVID. And then they would pick it back up with a European leg, there's an Asian leg, they have a Japanese leg coming out. Like, it's a whole world tour. Like, it's not one of those world tours where it's like, oh, we did some shows in Seoul and then, like, went to America and no, like, they're actually going all over the world. Just a quick little note that on June 17th, the boys would release another Universe single entitled Sweeter. This song is bright, it's poppy, it's actually really good. Are you noticing the trend that their bright, good songs are being relegated to being special, non-promoted singles? Because I'm recognizing that trend. Moving on, following 3 shows in Seoul, the boys would release their 7th mini album. The album Be Aware and its title track Whisper would come out just a couple weeks ago on August 16th. Also, if you're wondering, I decided, because I don't have anything for this album, I decided we're ending with a debut era group picture because it feels full circle to me. I don't know why I'm getting so heated about it, but I really was like feeling things about this picture and I needed you all to be aware of it. Whisper as a song though, it's weird. Like, it tries to keep up, in my opinion, the darker vibes that we've gotten from the post-2020 releases, but it's also trying to keep up a brighter sound that, like, what we got with Thrill Ride. I can't tell you if I'm right, I can't tell you if it works for you, but I can tell you it doesn't work for me, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is better than Maverick, so I feel like we're making progress. But, as always, the general public disagreed with me because, for a frame of reference, right, their most viewed music video right now is still Thrill Ride, which is at 39 million views. The music video for Whisper is 2 weeks old and it's at 35. There is a very real chance that at some point in the next like a month or two, it's gonna surpass Thrill Ride and be their first music video to hit 40 million views, or like, I guess it's gonna pass Thrill Ride. That's my theory. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but like, it has a lot of views in a very short amount of time. Whisper would also give the group yet another #1 song on the Circle download charts, which becomes even more impressive when I point out to you the fact that the #2 song that week was Blackpink. So like, very much impressive. Meanwhile, Be Aware as an album would give the group another #1 on the Circle album charts and sell over 500,000 copies within just the first week. Our most recent piece of lore is actually a bit of a quickie and a bit of a downer, so I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry we're gonna end on a downer. But just about a week ago in August, Sunwoo would announce that he was going on hiatus. Well, the label would announce that Sunwoo was going on hiatus. I'm sorry to end on a downer, but like, we've reached the present and I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, like I said, we've reached the present. I don't have anything else to add, but I also don't want to do a retrospective for 2022 because I didn't really do all that much that I really want to talk about. So instead, we're gonna do something fun. So get excited. That's right. We're back at the poster. Also, this is the other wand. If you were wondering, I told you that you would get to see it. I kept my promise. You're all welcome. Anyway, since I didn't want to do a retrospective for 2022, I have decided that we are going to sit down. Well, I'm going to be standing, but you can sit. Just, you know, go through AO3, the top pairings, and I am going to decide whether or not they have rights. That's right. It's going to be so fun, at least for me, because this is really fun to make. So, let's just get started. So, if you don't know how AO3 works, first of all, hello. Welcome to being in a fandom, because go on AO3, depending on the group, you will find quality fic. Maybe not for the boys, I haven't found very much, but that's irrelevant. Anyway, the way it works though, if you go to the boys as a fandom on AO3, it will give you the top 10 pairings that are the most popular ones. Those are the 10 we're going to be doing here. We're going from 10 to 1 because that's how these videos work. Again, I will single-handedly be deciding if they have rights, and my decision is final. So, at number 10, that's Sunwoo, that's Changmin. Changmin and Sunwoo are the number 10 most popular pairing. Now, I am not a big connoisseur of the boys fic as stated, however I do indeed know the dynamics, but I don't know the dynamics as of recent times, so I texted my friend who's a very big Changmin fan. I asked her, hey, what's the tea between these two? And she responded, and I quote, they are unfortunately close. So I can say that while there is probably lore for them, I don't like it and I'm still not giving them rights. Number 9, Changmin and Younghoon. These two, I get it. I see the vision. Like, I know there's deep lore from debut era and pre-debut era, so like, I get it, she can have rights. Number 8, it's more Changmin. Y'all are horny with Changmin. Changmin and Juyeon. These two, listen, this was a new pairing to me. I didn't really think about them when I was at the boys stand, so I went on YouTube and I looked up content for them, and here's my takeaway. It's one of those pairings where, like, if you really want to see the tea, there's tea to see, but like, I didn't really feel it. I was not really here for it, so it does not have any rights. I'm so sorry. We have reached the first one that does not include Changmin, and this time it is Juyeon and Eric. For these two, I get it. Hear me out. For these two in particular, here's how I feel like the dynamic works. I feel like it's that Eric is a horny demon and Juyeon is hot, so that is why this pairing is popular, and I see it. I'm here for it. It can have rights. Next, number 6, we're back to Changmin. This time it's Changmin and Chani. For these two, hear me out. I feel like they give more the Renju and Haechan gay, fruity besties that are just out here ready to end the world for each other before they give actual soulmates. But at the same time, I'm willing to give it rights even though I don't see it. Next, we actually have 2 new people this time. It is Sonu and Hakyeon. For these two, hear me out. They give bros to me, like, they don't really give that type of dynamic. They can be bros who fuck if they want to be. I will not stop them. I will not hinder that, but that's not the vibes I get. That being said, I will let you have your moment for these two. You can have half a right. I will not give you full rights. You can have half a right. Next, the 4th most popular pairing. Sonu, Chani. You're on crack. You're on crack cocaine. You're losing your entire mind. Listen, for these two, I know they're friends. They're like actually good friends, but at the same time, no. I decided, I was like, maybe the dynamics have shifted so drastically that I felt the need to go, and I went on YouTube and I looked up content for these two, and I did not get convinced. It in fact unconvinced me, so you actually lose rights if you ship these two. I will say though, in spite of the fact that you lose rights for these two, the video that I watched for them made me laugh for 3 straight minutes, and here's why. So it was a clip, and it was Sonu calling Shani a Kit Kat. No, Shani calling Sonu a Kit Kat, I'm sorry. But here's why I was laughing, right? Because you're probably sitting there being like, that's not that funny. Here's why. They then showed the picture that Shani was referring to, and then they played over that the Peter Griffin ta-da audio, and I lost my whole entire mind. I was crying. I cannot explain to you with words why it was so funny, but it was truly the peak of comedy. Next, our 3rd most popular pairing is Chani and Younghoon. I'm not going to get too in depth on this because I probably can. I will simply say, I know for a fact there's large amounts of lore, and you can have absolute rights, it's just not for me. Our 2nd most popular pairing, Jacob and Kevin. These two, all the rights. Literally all the rights in the world. The number of texts I sent about them, I can't say anything less. They give just such chaotic boyfriend energy. I'll put it this way, because I went to a theater school. They're those 2 friends that are dating that everyone simultaneously loves and hates to be around. I can't phrase it any better than that, but if you understand, and they have all the rights in the world. Our most popular pairing is Juyeon and Hyunjae. I have a confession to make. I never saw the hype for these two. Never saw it. It was never for me. I saw someone on Twitter once say it was clapped meanie. I won't say I agree, but I will say that I did laugh and send it to multiple people. So do with that information what you wish. Either way though, to answer the key question of this section, does the number 1 pairing of the boys have rights? I don't know. I'm not willing to give it rights, but I'm not willing to say it doesn't have rights, so it can exist in a state of a limbo for all time. That's my final conclusion. Anyway, we're back in the normal spot. That has been the history of the boys. I hope you liked it. I hope you had fun. Let me know what you think down below. You can comment your thoughts on everything. Let me know what you thought of the intermission moments, like the doing their SoundCloud songs, the AO3 pairings, that type of thing, because I had so much fun doing those sections, and I want to do them more for other groups, so like get ready for that. But other than that, yeah, you can like and subscribe if you want to or don't. I will really be okay either way because like I'll survive. But you can also comment your thoughts, like I said, comment anything you think down below. And you can follow me on Twitter at s_reviews. I will link that in the description along with any other The Boys reviews that I've done and any other history ofs that I've done. So you can check all that out if you want to. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!